I'm in science education. When I was hired here 20 years ago, I was hired to do elementary science methods. And I quickly, the first year, the secondary person left, and I taught all the science methods. I taught assessment when I was a new faculty member as well. And now we have, other faculty and lots of good teamwork. So I've been teaching master's level students, as I was saying, the intro to ed research. I teach qualitative research, and yeah, I'm having fun. But Jane came to me and asked for some help about accreditation. I think that's partly because I was trained to be on the board of examiners of national accreditation. National accreditation is a pretty serious thing, and this is a serious operation right now. We are on some short deadlines, and the program needs to do the work. I mean, it just needs to do the work. And I'm glad you're here today to help us do that, because we can't do it alone. And just the short version is we have to have valid and reliable data. I think our students are doing well. This is my student right here, and I go out and see him, and he's in Marty's class, and I think he's doing a great job. I think Marty's pretty happy with Joe. But the data that we collect and give to Bill doesn't necessarily reflect that real clearly. It doesn't show a lot of difference between student teachers either. It's kind of everybody does a great job sometimes. So anyway, that's an issue. So we're on a short time frame here because we have to collect this data. Today is about performance assessment data. And we have to collect data on the students' performance in the classroom. And that's really where the rubber hits the road. This is where they're doing the work. This is not lesson planning. This is not making quizzes up. This is teaching. And this is what we prepare them to do. We need some solid, valid evidence that they're doing a good job. So that's what today is about. And the goal for us today is to give you a performance assessment instrument, and before you leave, fill it out for every student teacher you're working with. Okay, so before you leave today, you have to put your name on it, you have to put the student's name on it, and you have to fill it out. It's one page. Okay, this is it. And you're not going to be able to sit and look at a video of your people, or you're not going to be able to go out to the classroom. You really have to do it here today, because it's the last chance we're going to get to collect this data on everybody in the program. So the goal is in the next 3 weeks to collect the performance assessment data by all supervisors, all cooperating teachers, on every student that's student teaching in the program now. I mean, that's the kind of data you need for accreditation. You have to be able to say, these are all our students. This is what the cooperating teachers say. This is what the supervisors say. And it's the same instrument for everybody. Am I going into too much detail here? Okay, I'll just say that we think we're going to use the same instrument in 301. We think we're going to use the same instrument in methods. Because if you have the same instrument throughout the entire program, then you can compare. And you can look for changes in scores. And you can look for similarities and differences between students, programs, and the whole thing. And that kind of sounds a little harsh in terms of teacher education accreditation. Frankly, it's going to help us be a better program. That's the goal, is to make sure that we're all doing a good job in all the program areas. It will help us be a better program. So that is the ultimate goal. So we developed this in the committee, teacher education faculty. Jane asked me to do that and to work with 4 other faculty. Jane, the department head, also is part of that committee. We've been working on this for about a month. It's something we take seriously, and we hope you will too. It's going to be used with all current teacher candidates, all current teacher candidates. So it has to be filled out by all the cooperating teachers, all the field supervisors. And that's the 3-week goal, is to get this done, 3 weeks. The 3-month goal is to then take the data that we collect and write it up for our accreditation. We have stipulations and weaknesses that have to be addressed by September 15th, or, no, there isn't any more. They have to be addressed by September 15th for us to continue on. And so that's the 3-month goal. And because we've been kind of a little bit behind the 8 ball, behind the curve, our national accreditation will come up in 3 years instead of 8 from now. Okay, so we have a 3-week goal objective, a 3-month one, and then a 3-year one. And hopefully we'll use this data throughout the entire project. So I ask, please, before you leave today, fill out the forms, give them to us, and you'll be finished with this, okay? We're gonna have to go find everybody else.
How are the cooperating teachers getting the form? Do we take it to them?
We'll take care of the cooperating teachers. And we may ask you to do that, but right now, we just want to deal with you today, okay?
This is a pilot that we're doing right now, and we will collect the data. However, we're collecting data. These students will not be graded on this sheet. You still need to use what is online for this semester only. By next semester, we'll be using this 100%. But right now, we're just collecting the data.
If your student teacher has already finished student teaching, you still need to do this for them, okay?
Does
You
their
have
CT
you have to go back.
too?
I'd like to introduce Jane Downey. Jane is the head of the department, and she is the person who convened the committee to get this initiative started.
Hi, everybody. We're here to join you for a little while, and I'm happy to do what you need me to do at this point. This is a really important task, and I really appreciate you being here to help us with this. And I'm sure Michael has given you the background on it, but I just want to give you my appreciation for your helping us, your effort, your input, so that we can get this in the shape that we need it to be for all of us, and all of the work that we do. I think I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, so what we'd like to do is, first as a group, I'd like to look at a video. We'll look at this video here, collect as a group, and I can stop, and we can also, we'll discuss the video when it's over, okay? The reason is, I'd like you to look at the criteria that you're going to be scoring these people on, and then if there's confusion or any questions, we can discuss things and try and answer questions. You're outside of the committee that put this together, you're the first people to see it. So we'll do our best. But I figured the best way to really apply this is to look at a video and then say, well, Joe did this, Joe did that. And I'm really glad that Marty's here, because when you make these final evaluations, it's not going to be based on a 5-minute video. It's going to be based on all your observations and the performance over the semester. So maybe Marty and I will go back and forth and say, oh, I saw Joe do that, or I saw Joe do that, or something like that, you know? Because you really have, this is a summative assessment. This is for the entire semester. But we want to talk about what you might have seen that would lead you to score this. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we'll break up into smaller groups, and we'll have 4 videos going, and we'll have 4 groups. And then I'd like you to watch a little more video, again, just to get the feel for it. You know, it's like, what are we talking about with assessment here? How do we assess that thing? So it's an opportunity to discuss. And we'll have Joe in 9th grade science, and we'll have Jen at the Bridger Alternative School in social studies, Eric in social studies at the high school in Bozeman, and Jenna is at Whittier in 2nd grade. So, and we could even move between groups if you want to look at more than one teacher. So it's an opportunity to sit and discuss what we're looking at and how how we're going to assess these behaviors, these objectives. Okay? Can I start the video here now? I'll turn the sound up. If there's a burning question, raise your hand. I'll stop the video and we can stop and talk. If nobody interrupts, I'll let it go for a while until we think we've had enough of this and we can go on to the next thing.
We're not supposed to assess this.
No. What I'd like you to do
It's
is...
just to understand the
Yeah, I'd like you to
process.
look at the criteria.
Sure.
Imagine you're sitting in the classroom, and if I were watching Joe, what would I do? You know, what would I grade him for today?
So I do have a burning question. It relates to meets expectations versus exceeds expectations.
Right. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. And it would be a good idea if we actually saw a student meet expectations or go beyond expectations. Then we could say, oh, that's it.
Okay.
Are you ready? Okay. Let's try this.
Is there another line that we need to know? International date line. Where's that located on latitude or longitude? Prime meridian 0 degrees. 180 degrees. So you're going to have, latitude's going to measure east-west. Question?
I'm confused. So like the latitude is, which way do latitude lines go?
Latitude lines run east and west, but they're measured north and south. Longitude lines run north and south, but they measure east and west. That's very good. Latitude had a bad attitude, and latitude had to lay down. Latitude lines lay down. Latitude, latitude. I always go with latitude, ladder. Steps of the ladder, latitude. Steps of the ladder.
Radius too complex.
So I put it on the side. I'm taking notes the entire time I'm in that class. I have the lesson plan. And by the way, that's important. We're suggesting that having the lesson plan is essential to scoring this. So without a lesson plan, you might not be able to score this as accurately. I have a lesson plan, and we're also suggesting that for this assessment to be complete, you have to do the reflection with the student. I have a videotape of a reflection that I'll show you later. But the idea is that for our program, reflection and professionalism is an essential component. And if we don't observe it, it never happened, you know? So we have to have some evidence. So the last category is about reflection, and that happens after it. So the student teaching field observation includes the lesson plan, what the student does in the room, like Joe's doing now, and the reflection after it, which is like a debriefing. Well, I can show you an example that I did with Eric in social studies. A couple of us on the committee watched the videos separately and scored this. And then we came together and we looked at each other's scores. So we've been working through this a little bit. But for us, there were differences in scoring. And we talked about that and tried to resolve it. So we've been playing around with it. So this idea of meets expectation or goes beyond expectations, it's not a black and white line that we can see. It's the difference. But so now you. What would you like to say? Yeah.
Well, along the lines of having the lesson plan, just briefly, I'm dying to know after watching him.
So I put it on the side. I'm taking notes the entire time I'm in that class. I have the lesson plan. And by the way, that's important. We're suggesting that having the lesson plan is essential to scoring this. So without a lesson plan, you might not be able to score this as accurately. I have a lesson plan, and we're also suggesting that for this assessment to be complete, you have to do the reflection with the student. I have a videotape of a reflection that I'll show you later. But the idea is that for our program, reflection and professionalism is an essential component. And if we don't observe it, it never happened, you know? So we have to have some evidence. So the last category is about reflection, and that happens after it. So the student teaching field observation includes the lesson plan, what the student does in the room, like Joe's doing now, and the reflection after it, which is like a debriefing. I can show you an example that I did with Eric in social studies. A couple of us on the committee watched the videos separately and scored this. And then we came together and we looked at each other's scores. So we've been working through this a little bit. But for us, there were differences in scoring. And we talked about that and tried to resolve it. So we've been playing around with it. So this idea of meets expectation or goes beyond expectations, it's not a black and white line that we can see. It's the difference.